Tuned in to Guardian Radio, your source for Destiny news, tips, and chatter. Sit back, relax, and embrace your destiny.
Welcome everyone to Guardian Radio, the first and longest running Destiny podcast on the net. I am your host, Mark Turcotte, and joining me this week, as always, my morning fire team brother, K-Dub. K-Dub, what's up, dude?
What's up, everybody? So I want to say a good thank you to the people of Philadelphia and Boston. Because I purchased a new watch due to the outcome of the game last night, and I just have to say this.
Oh, God.
Let's go, baby.
Are you from Philadelphia or something?
Hell no. I just hate Boston.
Nice.
Everybody hates Boston, man.
Oh, that's so funny. So I just wanted to say that, do that and say, yeah, so I made a little wager and I made a little bit of cash and bought myself a birthday present, which is coming in a couple weeks. And I've got a nice new Invecta watch on the way. So thank you very much.
Sweetness. There you go, man. Yes. Congrats to the Eagles and all those Philly fans out there for sure.
I wear that watch. It's like, oh, I like that watch. I was like, oh, great. The Patriots got me that. And that's going to be my
You knew Tom Brady was the greatest of all time, right?
That's it. Tom versus time, right? This is the time that he got.
Right. He's the Oats, the oldest of all time. Let's see him finally. That third voice here amongst us, our King of Queens, Mr. Mesa Sean. Sean, what's up, man?
What's going on, guys? Happy for all the Eagles fans. We didn't really watch the game. My girlfriend and I, we watched the halftime show.
Yeah.
And then we had to watch. She wanted to see the show. This Is Us.
Oh man,
you guys watch that show?
My wife does. I started watching it with her, and
yeah, I watched like the first
it's a great show.
It's just good. Yeah.
The emotion, Sean. I can't. I watched the show. I'm like, I don't want to watch it, man. I'm gonna be
it got a little. Yeah, it definitely gets emotional stuff. Yeah. So then we watched that, and then just went back to looking at my nice Masterworks raid armor set, which I'm eager to talk about tonight on how it performed this week in the prestige raids. I have 3 prestige auras going on right now, so I had a lot of fun this week. I'm gonna have a lot of fun this week streaming it on my YouTube channel, Mesa Sean, where I stream all Destiny things. Yeah, I'll be streaming some prestige raids this week on my channel. So much fun.
Awesome. Well, we got lots to talk about, guys. Big show this week, as always. But quick housekeeping, as usual. Don't forget, check out our website, theguardiansofdestiny.com. You can find all our social links. Like we've been saying, follow us on Twitter @GuardiansofD. It's the best way to keep in touch with us and to know when we're going to go live with the podcast. As far as I can see, next week, we're still going live, guys. So we should be here 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/Guardian Radio if you want to hang out with us. So big what's up to everybody over on Twitch. And don't forget, we're looking for topics to keep the show rolling here, moving forward here. But hey, with this roadmap we have this week, there's going to be some things coming. So I know we're not going to have a shortage of things to talk about when it comes to Destiny 2. But email us, feedback@theguardiansofdestiny.com. It's a great way to have your voice heard here on the show. And one final thing here, if you want to help support the show, you can do so by becoming a patron through our Podbean patron campaign. You can find the link in the show notes, or for you guys over on Twitch, I believe it pops up every once in a while with the Nightbot. $1 gets you listed on our Wall of Guardians. $5 gets you that, plus access to EBD Radio, our Everything But Destiny podcast, which we put out once a month just to those subscribers. And $7 gets you all that and the video version of that. So if you want to help support the show, you guys can do that. And big thank you to everybody who already supports the show, because you guys help us go to Guardian Con every year and just help keep the site and show running. So thank you guys so much. But let's dive in here, guys. We got lots and lots to talk about. So let's move on here to our news segment. I said news, not new. Everybody always says that. Like once a week, I always get.
You have a new segment? It's the same segment.
No, it's news segment that we call Dispatches from the Traveler.
Funny.
All right, guys. Well, before we jump into this week at Bungie, I want to talk about what launched this week. And so first of all, we had Iron Banner, but that's not what people want to talk about, right? People want to talk about those raid perks dropping on that raid gear. And from all accounts, it seems like those perks are pretty damn good, right, Sean? I mean, you obviously have, much more experience in this realm, I think, than us this week. But how are those perks looking, man?
Awesome. For me, it's the blueprint of Bungie testing the waters as to All right, so now we have a set with raid perks that benefit us in the raid. I totally could see them now doing like a Crucible set, right? You know, have perks, bring some favorites back from Destiny 1, like increased melee attack speed, or Angel of Mercy for giving you more super energy when you res a teammate, or even a set for, you know, prestige Nightfall type things. Just there's a lot that could be done with it, and you felt more powerful. They had perks from the two main perks that I think are the best are the boots and the class item. And
Boots.
one thing I was a little bummed out is I thought we'd have to do the raids over and over and grind for these mods. But if you already had the set, you had them all built in to those, like built in there. If you didn't have the full set, you could just do one raid and then go to Benedict 99 and buy whatever pieces you're missing.
Need, which is awesome.
And then on certain pieces like gloves, not the chest and not the helmet, gloves, boots, and the class item, you could switch between flavors. Like for your class item, you could choose Arc, Void, or Solar, and you can get, I think, a 25% buff to your ability damage, right? So Pulse Grenades on Striker Titans, Golden Gun with Celestial Nighthawk is ridiculous. You've got your boots give you this thing called Energized for 10 seconds. And every time you kill a red bar, not a yellow bar, you get a buff. I think it's 15%. I don't have it right in front of me, but you get a damage buff, right? So if you combine it with something like I was using Positive Outlook, right? And Positive Outlook gives you kill clip. So you would do is you'd kill a red bar, you would reload, you get kill clip to proc, and then from there you get bonus damage on top of kill clip.
Oh, God.
And you're wasting red bar. It was so awesome.
Man, the
right?
throne room, that's got to be ridiculous, right? Just clearing out.
It's awesome, yeah. But also there's a little glitch too. If you shoot any of the pots, you know, those little like plants and little berries and all that stuff.
Yep.
And you see a little damage number, it procs the Energized perk from that.
There was something else back in the day that we used to do that with. What was that? Where we could shoot something other than an enemy and it would make a certain perk proc. And man, we used to use it all the time, and I can't remember what it
that
was.
Now that you say that, man, I can't remember what that was. I think they
ended
up getting rid of it, right? They
did get rid of it. Yeah,
I forget what that was.
What it was anyway. So you just brought me back to that. Yeah, I thought of that as well.
Then you also have one, we didn't really use it too much, but in the chest piece, if you kill a powerful enemy with your power for, I think it's like 30 seconds, maybe 25 or something like that, you get a 15% buff on your power weapon damage. So if you kill a yellow bar with like a rocket, then for like a good, like 30 seconds, you then can waste, like almost anything like with your power ammo. I didn't really test that as much, but what we were doing was on your gloves, you had multiple things you could choose from. One was if you melee an enemy and kill it, you can reduce your incoming damage by 20%. We were using the ones where if you meleeed an enemy, you get a bonus damage overall on anything of 20%. So right before we were jumping on our plates to kill Callus, we would all smack a dog and get that little. It's only like a quick buff for like 10 seconds or something like that. But
did you get an email from Peter?
No, smacking the dogs. I was killing the dogs.
So, but Sean, everything you're saying right there, I think is what this game needed, and it needs more of, right? Obviously, like you said, this is a blueprint. This is something we could see them doing in Crucible and even across other, just PvE modes, hopefully to come, or just PvE in general. But, being able to really theorize and kind of theory craft armor sets in that's something that Destiny 2 just seemed to kind of be lacking, right? Because they stripped out all our skills, if you want to say, or our talent trees, from the classes. They basically just minimized them all to make it, which one do you want? You want these 4 perks or these 4 perks? And that was it. Right. Where at least in Destiny 1, we had the option to have all these different choices, and that was pretty much just taken away. And now when you have something like this, where you have all these different perks across all these different armor pieces, you can sit there and think, how am I going to be able to maximize my damage output? Yeah. Just as a whole, which is great. And I think that's awesome, man. And hopefully that'll open the door. And, I think some people out there may be thinking, and this was kind of even my thought with these coming in was like, well, it's cool they're giving all this, but then I have to go and just rerun the same content again. When the new DLC hits and we actually get the new content and you can start
using Lair, too. There's going to be another raid layer.
That's what I'm saying. When you get the new raid layer, that's when it's going to be great. Because then it's like, all right, when we're going in, what perks do I want? What do I think I'm going to need? And this is great, man. I think this is a great start for sure.
The key thing with the perks is that it made it fun again. The Prestige Leviathan without these perks, not so much fun. Do we really need all the stuff you get from it? Because like we did challenge mode last week, where if you do challenge mode, which was last week, it was the Pleasure Gardens, you get quadruple drops because you get your normal, you get your prestige, and Masterworks were dropping like crazy during the raid. So do I really need this?
By the way, that's a really good change that they made. That was very similar to D1, where we had that kind of a deal where we would go in and get a crap ton of drops, and we're like, loot is raining, and you're feeling really good about it. And that's one of the best changes I think that they made is doing just that. Like we talked about it last week about getting double drops when you're doing prestige, but having that and being able to do challenge and quadruple drops and stuff, that's just a fabulous change.
Yeah.
The perks are awesome. You know, the fact that they chose overall perks, because I thought they were going to do something like, okay, bonus damage to Cabal, whatever, next to that, resistance to damage when doing this and that. But it was all general perks that can help you in the raid or the raid lair. But it made it fun again. You know, I have everything. Do I really need to run the Leviathan Prestige? No, but it's a fun experience because part of the raids during Age of Triumph was that you felt OP. You'd go in there, and it's still kind of difficult at some points, if you know, because the Leviathan's all about communication. One person, you know, like messes up, and a psionic whatever psionic explosion happens, and you all wipe. But it was nice again to feel more powerful, and I feel like this is them testing the waters with, you know, I could picture them doing a Crucible set, doing a set for non-raid stuff, for, you know, like PvE stuff, because you know, to be frank, like I have my raid set, I only use it in a raid now. When I go back to regular PvE stuff, I switch over to my Dawning gear because that stuff is all whatchamacallit, you know, like maximized for regular PvE. Because like I bring up the Hunter, for instance, she never had any recovery. The raid gear had 0 recovery, but because of Masterworks, I got so many Masterworks that I dismantled, I was able to re-roll the entire Hunter so that she's got like 4, 5, 5 or something like that, where she's got 5 recovery, 5 resilience, I think, something like that. Whereas before she had like 1 recovery, 2 resilience, and the rest was mobility. And I love the fact that you could re-roll stuff because you get something that looks like the new Monarchy stuff. It looks great, but the stats are terrible. But hey, you know what? I could go now re-roll that sort of stuff with Masterworks. You know, step in the right direction. I think it's a baby step, and I think I'm looking forward to see where they go with this for future content. Using that stuff in the raid lair, which is below prestige. I mean, everything just gets wasted. You know, and the fact that
that's awesome.
If for your bonus ability damage, if you have Arc, Soul, and Void, it just takes 1 Callus token for you to swap between.
To switch it out, yeah. Right. See, that's cool.
And I've got I think like 1,500 Callus tokens at this point. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of fun. Looking forward to.
You almost wonder, could they make? I mean, we've talked about it. I mean, they've even hinted at it and even almost blatantly mentioned it about the strike specific loot. Like, would it be possible for them to make armor sets specific for certain strikes? I mean, that may be going a little too far.
Well, but maybe the roadmap, they talk about the Nightfall having some sort of strike specific drops.
Right. Because I think that would just be cool. If there's a way to, you have your raid set that you can have, and then you have your strike set, and then you have. I mean, if anything, the strike set could be more geared towards maybe the race of enemies you're going to fight in that strike. Yeah. That may be the easier way to do it. X amount against the Fallen or against the Hive. I think that would be a cool way to do it. But hey,
like when we get into the roadmap on February 27th, one of the goals is, we're getting Nightfall scoring and high score tracking, but at the bottom it says Nightfall Strike unique rewards. And it says these features are stretch goals that have a chance to slip to a later release. So hopefully we'll be getting that on February 27th.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. So we all want strike specific loot. There has always been a strike specific gun or a specific piece of armor or whatever. But would that be going too far down the rabbit hole to have strike specific armor sets? I mean, is that too much, or is that?
That's kind of what I was saying.
Or does that really help playability, or does that really help replayability? In that go, you know what? I played these. Look, we've been going into the strikes, and then you get the same strike over and over, which they fixed. But then, is that one of those things where you're hoping to re-get that same strike to get the next piece of armor, and is that a carrot on the stick that we would like to see for replayability purposes?
Well, think about it. If one strike had something that you wanted, because we can't go in and just choose that strike, we have to go into the strike playlist. Okay. I personally think that's a good thing, because did anyone really like farming Omnigull for an entire weekend straight and getting a gazillion Grasp of Molochs? I personally didn't like it. But if I'm what I said is, Give us carrots that force us to play all the activities.
I had a blast with that because I went with 2 of my clan mates. We would go in and we spent probably 4 hours doing that. But we had a blast doing it. I mean, it was just one of those things where there was a goal that we all had in mind. There was something that we wanted to do. And at the end, when it's all dropping, you're like, yes, I go. Yes, I got another one. Yes. And you were like, that was like, it was a really cool.
Well, I think
that's not the way the game's meant to be played. I mean, like, if you think about it, it's the Loot Cave 2.0. You know what I mean?
You're right. Whereas, it absolutely is. Right. But we had a blast doing that, dude.
Right. No. I did too. Me?
Fix your camera.
Went down again.
Totally fell down. But Caleb, I mean, part of that I think plays into just the idea of having agency over knowing what you need to do to get that loot. You know, you knew.
Remember
this
why?
was the way to do it, right?
Remember why? Do you remember why we were doing that? Why were we farming that?
Get that god random roll.
Because it was something that was OP as hell that we wanted to be more powerful, right?
That's what I'm saying. So you knew what you needed to do, and that's why people did it. Even whether it was the way they didn't intend, or the way that they intended people to play. No, they didn't want you doing that over and over. But at least you knew, if I do this over and over, maybe at some point I'm going to get it. And when you finally got it, it just led to this huge, awesome, amazing moment where.
And how many materials did you get for breaking all that stuff down constantly?
Right. But I think the goal, for me at least, I'd like them force us to play the adventures, force us to play the lost sectors, force us to play all the strikes. And if I knew that, hell, you know what, I'd like to get XYZ, I'm going to have to sit my ass in that strike playlist for a couple of hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see where they go with it.
Thoughts on Iron Banner? What do you guys feel about Iron Banner? Did you guys dive in? I'll be honest, I didn't play any Iron Banner.
I played for one goal and one goal only, and that was to buy the scout rifle. And I was playing by myself, and it was me against stack teams of 4 nonstop. And it's Iron Banner always brings out the worst in everybody, I feel like, you know. But they definitely put a grind in it, you know, because I wasn't grinding for the ornaments because I've got the full sets on my hunter, but looking at it, you got to get a zillion melee or grenade kills to unlock the gauntlet ornament.
I saw that. Yeah, there was some setup. I saw a lot of people rolling. I saw some people tweeting out about the best setup to give you chances of that. But it was confirmed today. I think it was Dylan, or it might even been Cosmo, said all your progress is going to carry forward. So if you don't get it, this Iron Banner, the next Iron Banner, any progress you made on those ornaments will be carrying over to the next one. So
I think it was Dylan. I think Cosmo's sick, but
that's at least
I did not have a chance to grind Iron Banner this week just because. For the first time in probably 2 years, I now only have one job.
Nice.
One job. Nice.
Literally.
Yeah, if you only have one job.
I have one job now. It's I mean, I've had 3 jobs for the last 2 years, and I quit 2 of them because my one is now successful enough that I could do so.
Good job.
So thankfully, I can now. Dude, you know what's funny? I said this to my significant other. I said to Janine. I said, you know, it's funny. For the first time in about 3 years, I don't dread Monday. I don't dread Monday now. It's like I was like, oh, tomorrow's Monday, whatever. That's cool. You know, it's awesome.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
If you do what you like to do, man, you don't dread Monday. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Whole thing. So just side note.
Cool. All right, well, let's talk about this week at Bungie. And we got a massive development roadmap. I mean, some of the stuff was things that they had already said, but they literally put it in a nice, organized fashion for us all to look at. So I'm going to throw that up here on the screen right now so we can all take a peek at it. And this is the Destiny 2 development roadmap. And we can see what has already been deployed, which, of course, was 1.1.2, which came out this week. But the next thing on the list is 1.1.3. And that means this is on February 27th. This is when we're going to get the Nightfall scoring and high score tracking, the Emblem Aura rework. Fire team members, you're going to be able to see them on your map, which is great. The PC text chat or public text chat is coming in, which is going to be opt-in. I saw some people a little upset about that the chat is going to be opt-in.
I think that's good, though, because you want to opt in, because you don't want that area chat where you're just getting all that crap chatter like you do in the Fortnite bus when you're up there,
right?
Like, or you did in COD. That was just awful.
People wanted voice chat in Crucible and Destiny, right? They gave it to us. Nobody used it.
Nobody went in, right?
And so that's kind of the idea of, no, don't make it opt-in, make it opt-out so that you're in it, and so people will just utilize it because it's on.
Is it a toggle, though? Opt-in, opt-out toggle?
I'm sure if you opt in, I'm sure you can opt out, but you would think by default the better way is opt in, or just have you in.
It's
and
automatically
then you
in,
gotta
and then
opt out.
I don't
whatever.
know.
I saw
you know what though? I have to disagree. So let's say that it's your kid and your kid is playing and your kid is 10 and it's automatically opting in instead of automatically opting you out, and he gets to hear or she gets to hear all this crap from area chat that would be so offensive and probably
I know, man.
I think opt-in is the way to go. I think
T for teen.
Yeah.
Rated T for teen.
I think
that's their argument against
it. I think this is the right way to go. Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. So we're also going to get some exotic repetition reduction, which is cool. So if there's any exotics people are still chasing, companion vendor viewing and companion mod shader interactions, and possibly this is a stretch goal, the Nightfall Strike unique rewards, which is what we want there.
Yes.
Yep. What else? Let's see. So on March 27th, a month later, is 1.1.4. This is still part of Season 2. All these are part of Season 2. That's when we're going to get the big sandbox changes, which we're going to talk about in a quick minute. Heroic Strike modifiers, Iron Banners going up to 6v6.
6v6.
So is that where they're going to test it, I guess, in Iron Banner, which is kind of crazy that they're testing it.
It's probably going to
be
a test, but how are they going to do it? Like, what maps? Are we getting new maps? Because they
because
Christopher Barrett confirmed that Season 3, we are getting the next expansion in May. So unless they give us new maps, or from a developer perspective, can they extend the maps out, or are they just going to take maps that we have now?
They have maps now that will work for 6s. There will probably be maybe 4 different maps for all of Iron Banner that are 6v6, and that'll be the map rotation. And that would work. You can do 6s with the maps that they have now, as long as they're the certain ones that would work. And you know what? It's going to make it fast and furious, man. And I think it's going to be fun. I really do.
Let's see. Then we're going to get the weekly Crucible playlist, which is going to bring back Mayhem. Is going to be part of that playlist, kind of and rotation. Crucible ammo and gameplay tuning, which is cool. The Nightfall challenge cards, Crucible quitter penalties, and repeat Crucible map strike protection.
Thank God.
So yes, you're not going to get those repeat strikes back.
I jumped into Iron Banner on 3 different characters to do the milestones to get the tokens faster, right? And on my Warlock, I got 1 map 4 times in a row. Then I switched to my Hunter, and I got a different map, but 4 times in a row. It was bizarre. I was like, only me could this happen to, you know?
Right.
Yep.
To think of.
And then just to be clear, like I said, that coming in that on March 27th is a weapon and ability sandbox changes. A stretch goal is the exotic weapon and armor sandbox changes for that. And then Season 3, right now, no date, but this is going to hit in May. The Eater of Worlds Prestige, Seasonal Crucible rankings, private matches, vault space increase, the multi-emote wheel, the exotic Masterworks, which is awesome, seasonal vendor progression, faction rally improvements, and then another stretch goal, mod system improvement. So the mods are actually the furthest off, which to me, that's the thing I'm most excited about.
Yeah, me too.
I want to know what they're going to do with
that. And the complaint that I have is the vault space increase. We got to wait till May.
Well, that's when the new DLC is going to come out.
Yeah, I know, but like that's now. All that. But that's all right. That's not like a gameplay change, right? That's not like we fix this and it's going to screw up something else.
Delete so that's the one. That's the one.
Dude, it's not that. That's the problem for me with that one is that's one that you can. It just takes more memory. It just takes more resources. It doesn't take. If we fix this, it's going to screw up that. If I nerf this gun or I change that movement or I change that grenade, it's going to change how everything happens around it. It's not. That's not the case. You don't have to change any art. You don't have to change anything. It's just memory.
I don't know. Yeah. All I know is that. I told this in year 1 when we're all clamoring for vault space. If they made one code, decimal, letter, whatever wrong, and it deleted everything in our vault, we would lose our minds. You know,
of course.
Right. Let them take their time and just get it right. I mean, I have a lot of stuff I like to keep.
It seems like I don't wait till May for just more vault space. Golly, man, come on.
Listen, I dismantled a lot of my shaders. 1 to get legendary shards, but 2 to get bright dust. You know what I mean? So, and I also delete like any duplicates, that I have and stuff like that. So, but I know, like there's a lot of people that have a lot of, we want to collect it, we want to keep, Right. So right now, like I have my 3 sets. I like, like my new Monarchy gear set, my Dawning gear set, and then my Raid set. But as more gear, comes along. But big thing that we need to talk about is May, new expansions coming out, which hopefully is called Gods of Mars. Right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But the big thing right away, the negative Nancy's took to Twitter and to Reddit is you look in May, it says Eater of Worlds Prestige Mode. And everyone's like, all right, so we have to wait until May for Prestige Argos. Wait a second. That means there's no Raid Lair with the new expansion. And I think it was either Dylan or Cosmo went to Twitter to confirm, yes, the new expansion will have a new Raid Lair. What I'm thinking is this, guys, because it doesn't make sense to get the Eater of Worlds Prestige Mode alongside the new DLC. What I'm hoping on that they're going to do is this Season 3 1.2.0 hits, we get the Eater of Worlds Prestige Mode, we do it, then the expansion comes out. Because if the expansion comes out alongside the Prestige Eater of Worlds, there's going to be no incentive to do the old one unless they bump up the light, and then the Prestige Mode Argos can give you higher. I'm going to assume that the new expansion is going to give us a higher power level, a higher just overall level cap, hopefully. But I saw right away everyone was freaking out. No Raid Lair, they're lazy bunginess and that. No, they confirmed we're getting a new Raid Lair.
Right.
Cool your cucumbers. But I'm just curious as to how, because the House of Wolves came out, I believe it was May 15th or 19th of 2015. I think May 19th. So I'm hoping that this update hits a few weeks before the new expansion comes out, because this way we get to do the Eater of Worlds Prestige Mode, be all done with it, move on to the new Raid Lair and stuff. You know?
It's just surprising me they would wait till May. Like, you think, like, if anything, put that out in like April at the latest, just to give more content. That's just some more endgame content for people still to grind. Because, like you said, the minute what is Gods of Mars? Is that what they're calling it? The minute, or what they're assumed to be calling it, that when that drops, that's all anybody's going to want to play is that one, and not go back and do the Prestige. So you think they would put that at least a month, if not a month and a half, 2 months before, especially even for people who bought Curse of Osiris, and that maybe aren't planning to buy the Gods of Mars. Like, just give them that right now to give them content. But
I'll have to find it. I could have sworn Christopher Barrett said they're going to talk more about that. I got a feeling they're going to move that thing up for some reason. Let me look. While we go through the next subject, I'll look through his Twitter feed.
Because let's just jump into the Sandbox. Because I think that was the one thing coming out of this week at Bungie that just got people just super excited. And so I'm going to hit on a couple things that Hamrick said. And so in the this week at Bungie, Hamrick did have some comments in there. And so first he said, "Hello again. We've been promising more details about our work on the Destiny 2 Sandbox. So here we are. Before we get started, I want to lend some context. The Sandbox team is currently working on lots of updates for Destiny 2. Over the next several months, as those various delivery dates approach, there will be many visits from me or one of my teammates. Know that we'll be chatting with you again and again to share more details with you as we acquire them. This meal will span many courses. Here's the first."
That's such good.
So it's pretty much when they give us the big roadmap. And he says, "We've begun playtesting a series of changes that you will have in your hands in the next few months. The Sandbox has lovingly begun to refer to this series of changes as the Go Fast update."
By the way, I got to stop you right there. If you're looking at the Bungie weekly, this week at Bungie, that little thing where you put the Go Fast update, if you actually clicked on that,
click on it.
Need for speed. Meme. It's a we've got the Need for Speed, and it's Maverick and what's his face doing a meme.
Iceman.
It's
Iceman.
Funny, dude.
I
accidentally clicked on it. I was like, it's hilarious. Yes.
But he says, these changes they're playtesting, they're not guaranteed to go, but the outlook is good at this point. And then this is a big thing. He says, "Our goals for this round are to provide individual players with more hero moments by increasing overall speed and mobility, increasing the amount of supers you charge to demolish your enemies, and increasing the frequency and impact of our most montage-worthy weapons, especially in the Crucible." Because come on, that's what Sean, you mentioned about how much fun running the raid was again, because you just feel awesome when you have your supers, when you have these abilities. And it's funny, I've seen a lot of people on social network over the last few months going back to Destiny 1, and one of the things everybody says is, "I'm so fast in Destiny 1. Now, part of that could be because of the gear you have equipped, having the different perks and all that, but still, it feels so good to go back to that, and we all got so used to that you come over to Destiny 2 and it just felt slower and more sluggish. So I think they've realized that that's what players want. We want to have that speed, have that mobility. And so here's some of the things they're going to be doing. They're going to be
real quick. The two big things. I went back to Destiny 1 too because I was going down memory lane watching all the old Taken King, House of Wolves, Dark Below, Rise of Iron trailers. Went back into Destiny 1, played some Control, and definitely the two key things that stood out was the speed of your character. And I was on my Warlock, just would glide, and I was like, why am I so fast? And the time to kill. In my opinion, I feel like the time to kill is a little too long in Destiny 2. I liked it at first, but I feel like, you know, in Destiny 1, I could flank around, and obviously because it's 6v6, but I could flank around, and if my aim was good, I could kill 2 Guardians with a hand cannon or a Mida or an auto rifle, something like that. Yep. In Destiny 2, the time to kill is so long. You start laying into someone, if my aim's off even a little bit, they're going to jump out of the way, and then their friend's going to turn around and kill me. I personally think, rather than touching all the weapons and bumping them up, I feel like just lower the time to kill, make it a little bit faster of a time to kill. But then right away, everyone's like, what do you want to make it like Call of Duty? No, I want to make it kind of feel like Destiny 1.
You want it to be like Destiny.
Where like I could watch a beast like True Vanguard or MTash or something like that, pull those clips off where they turn the corner, waste 2 people with their primary, switch to a sniper and this and that, snipe another guy, you know what I mean? And I think a faster time to kill would lead to something like that, you know?
I think you're right, definitely. So some of the things they're doing here. So all 3 glides plus catapult and strafe lift have been retuned and buffed to make them more unique and faster, which is cool. The mobility stat has had its range expanded and has been completely retuned as well. In short, everyone gets faster and the higher end is higher. So we're going to be able to jump higher. Just everything's going to be faster. Players' ground speed cap has been increased too. So you're going to run faster, allowing for faster total movement speed regardless of how you may get there.
I'll really be faster than my Sparrow now when I'm running.
Titan skating is coming back, right?
That's right, Sean. That's exactly what I thought of, man, was that. Let's see. The Arc Strider, the Sentinel, and Striker all will move faster and at the same speed as one another while in their supers, which is cool. It says Arc Strider as a whole is performing well in PvP, but mostly due to its neutral game perks. They've made the following changes in an effort to get the super to be more competitive, a more competitive option. Faster attack animations, faster dodge, increased range of all attacks. Supers are going to recharge faster for everyone, which is awesome.
Real quick thing. When I played Destiny 1 last week and I played a game of Control, in one game of Control, I had 4 Nova Bombs. In Destiny 2, I have 1 super and that's it. So
one, maybe.
It's the worst.
More supers, more better. You know?
Yes. Yep. It says that they've buffed several weapon archetypes, including but not limited to the hand cannons, pulse rifles, snipers, and shotguns. So there's a few specific perks too, which is cool. And basically with that, the goal is to make the shotguns, snipers, and fusion rifles more prevalent in the game. I mean, that's one thing that I remember. We all remember going into games with snipers and that, and as aggravating as they can be, or even the shotguns.
You know what was great about it though? It was a play style. It was a play style. All of those 3, you had to choose your play style. Are you a running shotgunner? Are you a sniper? Do you want to try and get some fusions off? That you had to. That was how your playstyle was. Your playstyle was based upon your purple weapon.
Yep,
that's what it was. And I was typically a shotgunner. I liked to jump, be above people when they came around corners, and shotgun them. Other people like to sit back and maybe snipe. But hey, I'm not real crafty. That wasn't my game. I liked fusions and shots. Fusions were really, really fun for a while. Plan C, I had a blast of Plan C for so many times. And in Iron Banner, my God, we had a whole team of Plan Cs. It was ridiculous, man. And they're trying to bring that greatness back at those moments that when you think back to what were your greatest moments in PvP, it had to do with those power weapons or power weapons now. They weren't then, but that was the greatness of the game. But that also was part of the downfalls because there wasn't any primary gunplay. So it's a really hard balance that they're trying to find there, where there's still primary gunplay, but there's still these epic, awesome moments that you have with these other archetypes like shotgun, snipers, and fusions, and they need to bring that back.
What I think they're going to do, and I really hope they do this, is if they're not going to go back and go to primary special, because let's be face it, guys. I don't think they're going. I mean, no one's using shotguns, and for me, I use rockets and things like that. Yep. If we want to see that type of gameplay with people using some shotguns, using some fusions, using some snipers, throw some of them in the energy slot. But when you go into PvP, make it just like you did at the end of Destiny 1. If you die, you lose your energy ammo for a sniper, shotgun, or fusion, right? You have to go put crates on the ground again. Put the green crates on, you know? Yeah. So, like, if you want to run a double auto rifles, all right, nothing is going to change for you. But if you choose to go with an energy shotgun or an energy sniper, you're going to have reduced ammo because
I think that's the thing, Sean. I think that's exactly what they need to do. Just like now, how it is where you can go and you can get purple ammo from that thing on the wall not very often. Same type of a thing where there's maybe one green and one purple.
Yeah.
Right. and it's still just as limited. So it's only primary gunplay, and if you want to use a shotgun in your energy slot or a sniper in your energy slot, you can, but it's just like power ammo, and it's a place on the wall that comes very, or a specific spot that comes very, very infrequently, and you have to get that, and you have 2 shots or whatever it is. It needs to be very, very similar to how power ammo is now, and then bring that back and let it go. I think that's the only way.
Let's see, they're also working side by side with their friends on the PvP side to increase the pace of PvP combat and the frequency of power play. So here's some of the things, and they give us some numbers, which is something people have been asking for. Player respawn times for all quick play modes have been decreased, so you can get back to the action quicker. Power ammo respawn timers for all the quick play modes have been reduced by 30%. Power ammo respawn timers in survival have been reduced by 40%. Power ammo and countdown have been reduced by 25%. So there's just going to be more power ammo coming out. Ammo counts have been adjusted in relation to these timers and in relation to the enemy types. And this is cool too. Enemy players will now drop their power ammo on death.
Check that one.
Day one PvP.
The one last comment. Ammo counts have been adjusted in relation to these timers in relation to the weapon type. I mean, like, if you pick up a sniper, you should get a lot of sniper rounds. You know what I mean? Because, like, same thing with a shotgun. Well, then again, no, because they're just going to run around. I don't know where I'm going with that. But basically, they're going to tailor it. I think that in that sentence, they're going to tailor it whether you pick up power for rocket, fusion. Because, look, if I pick up rockets and I have 4 or 5 rockets, I'm going on a tear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I should only have 2 rockets. You know what I mean?
Right.
But for someone, if it's a low impact sniper, should have more rounds. If it's a heavy, black spindle-ish type of sniper in terms of its impact, maybe some less ammo. I don't know. You know what I mean? We'll have to see how it all goes.
This is the thing. The only thing that worries me about this was the power ammo respawn timers in its survival, but even in countdown is they're reduced significantly. So that means it's coming quicker. Yes.
And quick. Quick
so that means we
30%.
have right. So that means we have more. So I don't think that's I don't know if that's going to be great, because the power ammo as it is right now, you can pretty much play a game and almost always, not always, but most of the time have power ammo. I mean, I've watched some of your stuff, Sean. Like, you get rockets, you go and you just wait for somebody, you jump, you blast them, you get 2 kills. By the time you get those 2 kills and you go look around, there's another power ammo coming up in 10, 15 seconds. And if they're reducing that time, we're going to run into the problem that everybody was bitching about, that with no primary gunplay, because then everybody's got power ammo.
One person can get it.
I understand. But now, if what I'm saying is they're also bringing back shotguns, fusions, and snipers, and now we have shotguns, fusions, and snipers in energy slots with that are going to be improved, and this power ammo that's going to be respawning quicker. Are we going right back to D1 where nobody uses their primary?
Well, no, I'm saying it's like
that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, well, then so it says here they're going to have been adjusted in relation to the weapon type. You know what I mean?
Right.
So maybe if you have a shotgun, you only get 3 shotgun shells or something like that.
Well, what if that shotgun isn't a power weapon anymore because they're bringing them back to glory, and now you have your shotgun in your energy slot?
Well, that's what I'm saying is, like, if you throw shotguns and fusions and snipers in an energy slot, you have to pick up green crates, and it's going to be less than if you just, like, if you're running double autos or a scout rifle, nothing is going to change. But if you're doing something with shotguns, fusions, or snipers are going to be in your energy slot, you got to pick up green crates, and it's going to be limited, just like the end of Destiny 1.
Absolutely.
So the green crate, you get like 4 shotgun shells.
Right, exactly. So the point that I'm making is, okay, now I go pick up green crates. Now I have shotgun ammo, and a purple just came up, and now I have rocket ammo.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's the same. Now we're right back to where we were, where all I'm using is shotgun rockets.
Yeah, but I think
that's what I'm worried about,
because it's only like 1 crate or 2 crates, that are on the map in general, that you're not going to see it, I think, enough. And if you die, you drop it. And
6 people, you got to have 6 people fighting over that power crate.
Right. That's what I kind of.
So then it brings in the old thing. Remember the day when you used to sit back with a sniper waiting for people to go to where the crate the heavy was? You're just sitting there picking up people at heavy. So everybody's running for that. So then there's going to be somebody in the back freaking waiting. So that's going to be a really cool. It's a tactic, right, that you can use that might be really, really successful. We'll see how this works.
I'm going to tell you this, and I don't think there's a way they can do it. I mean, we know they can lock loadouts, but one of my favorite things about Halo which of course, I mean, if you don't know that Bungie made Halo, I mean, they made the original Halo, was the fact that when you wouldn't only learn a map, you had to learn where the power weapons were, basically. Where is the rocket launcher spawning? Where is the sniper spawning? Where? And then, if they brought this over to Destiny, where is the fusion rifle spawning? I think that would be so cool. So you just spawn onto the map. Everybody bring your power and your energy, which are basically your primaries, and then just have like the one rocket launcher on the map. Because what would happen was it dictated team fights. Like, around the map, people shuffling like, oh, the rocket's down, everybody runs over to it, which we kind of already had with power ammo or heavy ammo in D1 spawning. That's where you would see these team fights. But if it also said, hey, this is where the one rocket launcher on this map is spawning, I think it'd be cool if they were able to somehow do that. I don't know if they could, kind of in the way the system works now, but that would also take into account, like we've always said, like just make the weapons in PvE just crazy, and then just make there be certain PvP weapons and just kind of have it come down to skill, or shut off the perks, like we've said. If you make your mod system and your perk system so robust, but that's what's holding back PvP, shut those off in PvP. And then and maybe then if they had a system like that, then they could do a system where there is that one rocket launcher that launches on the map. But it's not just heavy ammo, it's it's the rocket.
Do you remember, Mark, do you remember this? On every single PvP map, we knew exactly where to throw our lightning grenade.
Yes.
Yeah. And where that lightning grenade was going to be positioned was right where the heavy ammo was coming. And and you knew when it was coming up, and you knew the whole team was going to gang up there. And we knew, based on what map we were at, where they were going to be. And when power was coming up, some of our team would go for the power ammo. I would always go to the other side and just try and sling a friggin' lightning grenade
while they're trying to get it. Yeah,
absolutely. I would get a team wipe. It was just the greatest. So I hope that because
we don't get that anymore for some reason. Like It's like heavy comes up and I'm like, oh, heavy's up. Like I'm never, and maybe it's just because I'm not into the PvP of Destiny 2 like I was with D1, but it's just heavy's up, and you just kind of like either I get it or I see somebody.
Now you have to fight your own teammate for it.
Exactly. Maybe that's it. Maybe that was because everybody got it right. You just had to be in there, and that just created this epic moment in the game. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of changes I think they could do to the PvP to make it exciting again. But hey, this is at least a start. And like we said,
Josh Hamrick is no joke. I mean, Josh Hamrick made a lot of good changes to Destiny 1. And he's obviously making these changes here. So I think we're going to be in good hands this year.
I think we are. Definitely, man. This one's great. The shoulder charge. They put some changes in a couple months ago that they're going to completely revert. I guess the shoulder charge movement utility was perceived as more valuable than the damage. So they're basically taking that back. So they're basically, it says the goal of the untargeted distance nerf was to discourage using the ability as a movement mode by making it only effective when using it against enemies. In retrospect, we think that this change was a mistake, and we've heard you all the same. We believe there are a number of gameplay atoms like this that perform or are used differently than we expected, but are thoroughly enjoyed nonetheless. So in the future, they want to embrace the state of gameplay atoms like that and balance around it, not against it.
Yeah, I didn't never understand that change. I mean, when you're running around as a Titan, even if you're just jumping or you're doing something, even if you're in a strike or whatever, you would just hit your shoulder charge just to go forward. Even you're not trying to kill anybody with it. It wasn't as effective to like, oh, I'm being shot, let me shoulder charge to dodge.
Right.
Nobody really used it that way. It may have inherently happened a couple times here and there just because you're trying to escape, but it wasn't as effective as, I can't hit him because he's shoulder charging. It was a silly change. So, yeah.
And then one final note, they mentioned snipers. He says that many people are complaining about the sniper flinch being too hard when they're taking hits, especially as they are now the power weapon. They've dug into it and found that somewhere along the way towards shipping D2, there was actually a bug that was preventing them from being able to successfully tune it to the values that they wanted to. Says, while the current batch of changes we are playtesting go a long way to bringing snipers back to where they should be, this bug will still prevent them from feeling perfect. So he says, we'll get it fixed and pushed out as soon as they possibly can.
Yep.
So,
and back to snipers, I never get sniped. I almost never get sniped. And I feel like
nobody's using them, John.
They need to go back to, or they need to throw some of the, if they're not going to make the primary, special, heavy, they need to throw them in the energy slot, make the ammo limited. But because let's be frank, most of the big PvP streamers who we all watched were snipers, True Vanguard, Crafty, all those guys, MTash, KJ Hovey, and no one's sniping because I know every time I get killed by power, it's either an annoying invisible hunter with a quick fang, it's someone giving me a piece of tube steak, which is what I like to do. I love rockets, Fusions occasionally, I love the main ingredient. To me, that's the most rewarding power to use. And occasionally, someone will run up to me with hawthorns and shotgun me. But sniping, almost never get sniped, man. So
you know why is because when you go get that power ammo, you get what 2-3 sniper shots.
I think,
and even the best, even the crafties of the world, you're hitting maybe. Let's say you have a great day, and you hit 2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
Right. But it's really going to be more likely 1 out of 3, and you could miss all 3. Then you just wasted all that. Where if you have a rocket, it's really hard to miss with a rocket, man. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where it's an insta kill, whereas I have to hit a headshot to get an insta kill with my sniper, or with a rocket, I just got to be in the vicinity.
Another reason why that I think they should put snipers also in the energy slot is because I loved using them in PvE. You know what I mean? A lot of times,
absolutely.
Snipers were great for, remember Black Spindling, the Warp
Icebreaker? Oh my God.
Icebreaker,
How many
dude.
times did Icebreaker come
Just snipers in general, like we're doing a strike when we're taking down a fallen walker. It was fun to sit back on the Devil's Lair strike and snipe his legs out, then snipe the body, then you run out of ammo. And I never, ever use a sniper in Destiny 2. I'm always going to use rockets or the colony.
Probably why my vault's full, Sean. All my snipers are in my vault.
You're just
Delete
waiting
them,
for make snipers to be great again.
Just tweet out. I tweeted out once which snipers are good for PvP, and I think there's just a handful. Like the single clap, I think is one of them. I just kept I kept the exotic ones, the Darcy, the Borealis, and then maybe 2 or 3 legendary ones that I heard were good for PvP. But there's no reason to use them in PvE at all. And it was, part of the fun even was, do you remember, I had a longbow with Firefly, Outlaw, and Snapshot, I think, right? So part of the fun for me in doing strikes and stuff was sniping ads from far away, watching Firefly proc, blowing up other ads next to them.
Yeah.
Because it's another
3 dregs with 1 shot.
Or thralls, because that's another thing I think that needs addressing is Dragonfly. They just need to make the explosion bigger if they're not going to bring back Firefly. Make Dragonfly like Firefly, because people, because if you listen to Crucible Radio when they talked about the making of the Sunshot, they're like, we wanted to make something because people like explosions. That's why we like Firefly so much. You know what I mean? Well, make Dragonfly the perk that gives us that same. I don't want to only have to use Sunshot to get that feeling of watching ads explode up, explode and blow up in front of me.
I like it. It's a new word.
That was a slip right there.
We'll put that in the dictionary. It's a new word.
Explodes up.
But I think we got some good stuff on the way, guys. I think, it seems like, them giving us a roadmap. They've heard some feedback that people want to know what's coming. They've put it out there. I mean, we can see what's coming. And overall, I think everything that's there is going to be at least putting us on the path to making Destiny 2 great again, or great of what it should be, and what a lot of people thought it wanted to be. And I know there's cynics out there saying, well, it should have been there in the first place.
Oh God, I'm so sick of hearing that. It should have been in the first.
It's not, but it's not, and so we're all just gonna
should have, would have,
move forward and enjoy the ride, like as always. So I think it's all good stuff, definitely coming.
Yep.
Let's see. We're running a little long on time here. And I'll be honest. I mean, we talked last week about how we wanted to talk about the Fall of Osiris comic book this week.
I didn't get to read it, Mark.
Now, I will say that we are not the biggest lore people in the world, which many of you know. There is a fourth person missing here that is the lore nut that is not here right now. That I know would be better to be here to talk about any of this.
He's drooling on his pillow at the moment.
And I got to be frank, man.
Yeah, it's late for him.
I've read both webcomics, and me being a big comic fan, and hell, we even have thecomicpanel.com as a website I have, which I plugged last week on the show, shamelessly plugged. Slade Steel Soul in the chat, or Gary, wrote the review for the webcomic, so I'll put it in the show notes. But if you go to thecomicpanel.com, you can find his review over there for part 2 of the webcomic. So if you want to kind of get a little bit more of a deep dive into that comic, you can go check out his review. But I will say this, for years on the show, I've been saying we need, comics. We need something. We need novels is really what I was asking for. But even comics, give us novels, because even like Halo has some great Halo comics, because they dive into some stories and give you action and lore. And I think because going into these and reading them, because I'm not as much of a big lore nut with Destiny in general, I didn't really get a lot out of it, because most of these, or most of both of them, are just the dialogue between Osiris and Ikora, and then you get a little bit of Saint 14 in there, which is awesome to see. But then you also get the speaker, and you basically see what's happened, or the impact that Osiris had on the citizens of the tower, and how radicalized they seem to be. Even though he wasn't really trying to do it, they just believed he was almost a god, and anything he wrote down was just, like the Bible almost, or these holy texts. And so you can kind of see that, and how just the people became so obsessed with him, these followers of Osiris. And so it was kind of neat to see that. But I think for me, like, I wanted maybe some more action. Maybe that's kind of the comic book reader.
I think that's coming. I think they're setting it up. I think that will. I think that I went through them, and it's kind of cool. Honestly, it's my first web comic I've ever gone through, and just going. I'm a huge comic book guy too. I mean, I've got stacks and stacks of so many that I collected from the years, but it was one of those deals where it was cool just seeing it go box by box by box instead of the old. That's another thing, dude,
is if you listen to me on the Enthusiast Life, my other show that I do, and then even the comic panel, we always plug Marvel Unlimited, which is Marvel has an awesome thing. It's like the Netflix of comics. $10, you can go on there, and there's literally tens of thousands of Marvel comics on there to read. The way that they do it there, it's so much, believe it or not, it's much more intuitive. This, like, the first few panels were good, like when you tap on your screen,
and then they get small.
But then it just gets small, and it's like, man, like you had it, you had it, and then they just broke it.
Yep.
So I don't know. That's one thing. I think they could have done that just a little bit better. But hey, it's a start. So for what they're bringing, I appreciate it, of course. But I think the fact that they're limited to, they were 10 pages each. I mean, a modern comic today is anywhere from like 24 to 30 pages, if not even more. So it's like, we're trying to limit it here. And I understand it's a web comic, but I mean, I'm hoping for more in the future. It's a good start, but there's one line I thought that was fantastic. And this is Sagira saying to Osiris, this is actually in the first webcomic. And she says, he's going to meet Saint 14. He says, why'd Saint want to meet us all the way out here? And Osiris says, the man wants to talk. And when Titans talk, there can be property damage.
That's right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So anything that these comics had, that's the best takeaway of the whole thing.
Absolutely.
But check them out. I think if you're into lore, this obviously
sounds like our hotel room at Guardian Con.
That's right. There will be property damage. But it's cool, I guess, to see that if you're big into Osiris. And I almost wonder, why didn't these come out before the DLC? Like, this would have been great to see the fall of Osiris. And then we get back. Now it's beyond the fact. So hopefully with Gods of Mars or whatever, even though it's kind of the unofficial name, when that actually comes out, like, give us a build up, like a weekly build up, 4 issues or something, I think would be great. Because clearly, like, to me, when I read this and they were giving us 10 pages each, I'm like, oh, okay, well, what they're going to do is collect all these at some point into a physical graphic novel, which would make sense. I mean, if they were to be putting these out even every 2 weeks, I mean, in a 6-month time, we have a full book that people would be clamoring over to buy in a graphic format. But I don't know. So there's our little brief review. Like I said, check the comicpanel.com. I have a link in the show notes so you can read. Our good buddy Slade over there did a nice review for it. But all right, guys, let's move on here to the part of the show where we get you involved that we call Messages from the City. All right, don't forget you can email us feedback at theguardiansofdestiny.com if you want to have your email read here on the show, just like Creepy17 did. And he says, go Eagles! Yes! I've been listening to community chatter for a long time, and one thing that people keep almost commenting on is power scaling. The reason why power levels don't mean as much, the lack in motivation for me to hit max light, is enemy scaling. In D1, you had areas of the game like the Cosmodrome where the enemies were level 4 the first time you saw them, and they are still level 4 today. Your first time, they're intimidating, and after you level up, they're a cakewalk. It mattered to me to feel overpowered at times. Yep. In Vault of Glass, your first run on normal was as a level 24. It was brutal, but you got some armor that helped you level up, and then the next run was a little bit easier. This was the motivation to get through hard modes. The better your gear, the easier it got, and that sense of progression generated fun for me. With D2, the enemies scale up, Once you hit the minimum light for an activity, the enemies never get any easier. So if I go into a 300 raid as a 335, the enemies are still 335, not 300. So there's no real reason to chase that max light, only the entry levels of each activity that you want to do. This also means it's impossible to overlevel. Patrolling the EDZ is always going to feel the same. I loved feeling like a god playing with ants when I went back to the original Cosmodrome, and also the scaled up challenge of going into the Siva-drome in year 3. It's another RPG element that Destiny 2 is missing, and I wish they could find a way to bring it back. Sincerely, Creepy17 on the Xbox.
I agree with this email.
I agree.
100%.
Yeah.
And I absolutely, so remember whenever we wanted to do weapon reviews, what did we do? Where did we go? You went to the Cosmodrome. And you started shooting something on the wall, and if anybody came up to you, you just turned around and just, and then you went back to doing what you were doing. And it's absolutely true. And you could grind certain things if you wanted them in those areas, and you weren't worried about dying. You had fun. It was just, I absolutely 100% agree with this email, 1,000,000%.
Yeah, well, there's a little game you guys might have heard about that's out right now. And that's Monster Hunter Worlds. And one of the hooks of that
What's it called?
game,
What's it called?
One of the hooks of that game is to go out and fight monsters, get their pieces, build their armor to go back and fight bigger ones. But one of the beauties is when you play with friends, maybe who are earlier in the game, you go back and you just wreck face on those smaller monsters, and you feel great. And why was Mayhem so great in Destiny? Was because you just feel like a god. Like that's the fun.
Yeah.
And John, you talking about the raid this week? Like that's when you get the new raid perk gear and you're going in and just wrecking face. Like it always feels good to go back because you can remember where you once were, and then now suddenly you have that sense of progression because not only do you have those pieces of armor or whatever it is, like you now can physically use it and it's changing the gameplay. And that is something that Destiny 2 needs. And clearly with the raid perks, it's coming. Like we're gonna start getting there, I think. And I think, like you said, it's a blueprint. They're realizing that's what people wanted, especially as people are going back to Destiny and giving feedback and saying, hey, this was in Destiny 1. Why isn't it in Destiny 2? Hey, so it's not going to surprise me if I start seeing a lot of things like that.
Quick question. Knicker's over in the chat just said, those yellow bar hives downstairs in the old Russia place,
God,
how many times did you kill them? So we used to farm them, right? You'd sit there and you could use I think we used a rocket. You would just go boom, and you would back up, or sometimes you had to go up the stairs and then come back down. But usually you can just go over in a little area over the side and wait for them to pop back up, and you come back and blam. Do you remember how many times we killed those? I would like to go back. I wish that I could find out how many times.
Wasn't there a bounty for? Wasn't there a bounty like you had?
Yeah, you used to have
bars
to kill 12 hive major ultras.
Yeah, and that was the best.
The annoying thing about that thing though is if you ran into some idiot who wouldn't leave,
they
would cause them to not spawn again on you.
Right, get out of here. And then you'd have to go to the orbit and then come back down. Yep. Yeah, right.
I do notice in Destiny 2, like the spawning issue doesn't occur at all. Like, on Nessus, where you have the one injection rig, there's a Vex Lost Sector, and then up top there's a Vex Minotaur, a few Vex regular, like goblin stuff. No matter what, even if someone's standing there, those things still spawn in every time. So they definitely changed that in terms of, like, if someone's standing in a place, those ads still will spawn in.
Right.
So I'm glad they did change that.
Yeah.
Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next email comes to us from Andrew, and he says, "Hey guys, first off, I want to say long-time listener. Love what you guys do for the game and community." Thank you, Andrew. He says, "Wanted to talk about the raids in D2. I just recently was able to complete both raids for the game, but it took me forever. Not because of skill, but it seems all the LFG groups I find are not willing to teach new people the raid and its mechanics. D1 had a great community of raid Sherpas that I feel D2 is sorely lacking it. I hope you'll be able to complete the raids a few more times so I can master all the mechanics and help those in need to get through their first time so we can all experience this great content that Bungie created for us. Thanks again for all you do. Andrew on PSN, turtle_on_speed. Turtle on speed." Now, that's something I brought up last week. Remember, I was asking, are the Sherpas there? And we actually did get a lot of feedback of people saying, yes, there are Sherpas out there. But, Sean, let me ask you, because when we were talking about the raid perks, it almost clicked in my head. Do you think the fact that the raid perks are coming in, and let's say for veterans, so that have all the perks, like let's say you and your raid team, would it be easier now for you guys to have 5 people with full raid perk sets to then take one person who doesn't and get them through the raid? Is it easier now having that and to be a little bit more? I'm going to say
for prestige, no. For regular, maybe a little bit, but it still comes down to, I think there's not a lot of Sherpas, and there are Sherpas like WTF Game Nation, I think Say No to Rage. The problem is that the Leviathan is a mechanic-heavy raid. You know what I mean? If someone goes down in the baths and all the things are not locked in place, it's basically a wipe.
Swipe.
And the dogs, if you kill some of the dogs and then
too
one
early or
alive,
something, then
all of a sudden the next run the dogs get restless. In the Gauntlet, if one person misses one of the green things, a projection shows up, you wipe. Some person misses the call out in the Nightmare or Shadow Realm, everyone goes flying. So it's extreme mechanic heavy. And I myself, I mean, my old friends and I used to do so many carries at Age of Triumph because those raids were different. They were DPS heavy and somewhat mechanic heavy, but not nearly as mechanic heavy.
You could make up with it with DPS from the experienced people versus the non-experienced people.
Yeah.
Well, that and plus, like, you could do a vault, a Templar checkpoint to Atheon in 25 minutes, right?
Right.
The Leviathan, every time you kill or you do an encounter, you either have to go to the Castellum or you got to go like through the underbelly. So
right.
The Leviathan, in my opinion, I love it. It's probably one of my favorite raids, but it's a time commitment. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Even whether you're doing it with friends or you're taking people through, it's a time commitment. Whether it's traveling between areas, just doing them, and it's very, very mechanic heavy, But if he is looking for Sherpas, go to the Destiny. Well, is he on Xbox? No, he's on PSN. Turtle.
Yeah, he's on PSN. Turtle on Speed.
Go to Facebook if you have Facebook. The Destiny PS4 Facebook community. We're almost at 70,000 people there. Everyone uses it for an LFG. You meet some cool people there. You meet some friendly people there that want to do either PvP or PvE. People looking for Nightfall strikes. There are people that are looking to do raid Sherpas there too. So try that out. Check out WTF Game Nation. Those guys on Twitch, they do raffles all the time on their Twitch channel.
And if you're not in a clan, go to the Guardians of D website and look on our clan spotlight page and look for a clan because there are plenty of them that are even right now recruiting and looking for more people. So that's a really good way to go. So check that out.
Nice.
We did not have a clan spotlight entry this week, so I'm pointing that out because hey, if you want your clan spotlighted and you want more people to play with and you want more people to join you, send in a clan spotlight form. So it's right on our website. Go find it and fill that in. It comes right to my email. I will read those and I put one on anytime that they're on there. So I the only thing that I ask is, you have to explain some stuff. Be sort of brief. And also, I want them to tell their story, but I don't want it to be like 9 pages. But then I also want it to be I honestly kind of look for at least 10 people. Have 10, if you get to 10 people in your clan and you want to grow and you have something substantial to say and you want to help people, fill out that form and I will spotlight you. So
email us. feedback@theguardiansofdestiny.com.
Yep.
Let's see. Next email comes to us from Dave. He says, "Hey guys, like always, it's been great to listen to you all week in, week out. Like many folks, I don't get as much time to play as I would like, but listening to Guardian Radio is the next best thing. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about the overall story of Destiny and what could make it better. Whether you're a PvP god or a raid runner, the story and lore of Destiny plays a huge part in pretty much every activity in the game. I've always been a big fan of Bungie, but do you think that they could do more with the player story experience? As you guys discussed bringing back Arms Day last show, I started thinking about how many characters there are that we never see besides turning in medals and tokens to. Wouldn't it be great if we could see more of the characters like Banshees, Avala, Eris, etc. during our gameplay? It might be venturing into the Call of Duty style of play, but I would really enjoy playing a mission alongside some of the Vanguard besides them throwing up a random bubble for 30 seconds. What if you could play a flashback adventure of Banshee during a prior reset? You could see the Destiny universe through the eyes of a different Guardian. Maybe have a game mode in Crucible where one player plays as a near invincible Shaxx while 4 other players try to take him down. I miss obscure Bungie playlists. He says it might just be me, but I'm not exactly sure how this would work, but I think it would be cool to see some of the NPCs in action. Let me know your thoughts. For those listening, add me on PSN, Dizzy_DLO. Dizzy DLO. I think it's great. That would be awesome, man.
Sick idea, man.
Yes.
I mean, like, think about it. Play along with the NPCs. You go into say it's like, make it an adventure. You know what I mean? Like, Shaxx wants you to test him, something like that. So you and a bunch of Red Jackets go in. Banshee hands you your weapon. Keep that thing oiled, Guardian. And then you and a couple of friends have to take, like you versus Shax and a couple of make it a horde mode. Make Shax the boss, right? And there's a bunch of red jack. Are they called red jackets or red jackets? I would say red jackets because it was a dorm in college called red jackets.
It would be so fun.
The red jacket, they get a horde mode.
Even outside of that, so if you think of some of the more obscure NPCs, like the guy that's making the noodles in the little ramen place, right?
Yeah.
You go up and next thing you know, he's like a freaking ninja and will just melt your face. And you had no idea. And all he's doing is cooking noodles, but he whips your ass, but anything like that or freaking Sweeper Bot. That's now the raid guy that you buy stuff from. He goes out and his broom turned into some crazy staff or something, like all these silly things that they could do that would be so fun, man. There is some really, really cool ideas. If what's her name? if everybody's mad with the Bright Engrams,
Tess
Everest comes out and starts beating everybody's ass like, you don't like that? You don't like Everburst? Like, right? It would be so funny to see them fight, to see her fight, or to some of the cool cutscenes were from the person that sells us our ships.
Amanda Holiday.
Amanda Holiday would be so cool to see her in more action. All those things, those cutscenes. If you think back to when D2 launched, that was the coolest part of the game, was all that stuff. And he's talking about, Zavala just throwing up a bubble for 30 seconds and we get to chill with him for a bit. Okay, that's great. And Akora Ray, she throws a Nova bomb and takes down a ship, and that's all you get to do with her, and Cade he shoots 3 people and that's it. Yeah, give me more stuff where we get to play with those people alongside.
I absolutely love this idea of the game mode where like one person plays Shax.
Yeah.
The other 4 people trying to take him down, because it would remind me of like in Battlefront, with like the heroes versus villains mode.
Yeah.
Or even like, you think of like the whole games were built around this, like Evolve 2K's game where one person plays a giant monster and there's 4 people trying to take him down, which obviously that's far beyond. But even Overwatch, their holiday event they just did, one guy played a Yeti and 4 other people were mazed trying to take him down, like running around. And like that to me, I think would be cool, because then they could add in all kinds of different dialogue for Shax. And it doesn't even need to be just Shax. Like go in and pick your Vanguard. Like you pick the Vanguard. If you want to be a Titan against these other 4 people, you pick Zavala or Shax, or if you
want to be a hunter, you pick Cade 6.
Right, like that would be cool, and you have different abilities maybe, or your abilities come up quicker. What a fun game mode
you get to
that
play
would be.
As them or against them.
That would be so neat, man.
Either way, as or against, would be ridiculous.
They could add in different unique dialogue depending on if you're a Titan playing against 4 hunters and the way he interacts with them. Like all that stuff would be so cool.
Or Dan J said would be Osiris.
Like
throwing a story or something like that, where like I don't know, like you're protecting Devrim as you go through the EDZ, and if Devrim dies, you end up wiping or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or to use be Devrim and be able to sit up there and be able to be up there and snipe for a little while and see what sniper he's using and how it feels, what it shoots like. Man, it'd be so great.
If they ever bring back No Land Beyond, I almost guarantee he's going to be the quest giver for that sniper.
Yeah, no doubt.
See it already.
Definitely. Oh yeah. All right, we got one more here. That's kind of a long one, but I want to go ahead and read this one. It's from Sean. Not this Sean, another Sean. He says, "Hey guys, I've recently discovered the podcast through Mesa's YouTube channel and have to say it's a great way to spend an hour ignoring my job. So I'm glad we can help you. Hopefully your job's not too important." He says, "In the most recent episode, you talked about a lot of things that could be added to D2, such as ARCHON'S Forge type events and better incorporating lore into the game. I've been hoping for these things since the release of the game, but don't think that they need to be thought of as additions as much as expansions of existing places and spaces. One of the biggest weaknesses in D2 is the waste of time or effort waste of time effort by the developers. They clearly love the game and put passion into each bolt on every Cabal doorway, but how much time and effort have been poured into places and characters that are completely unused? For example, when was the last time you stopped by the farm? How much time was put into those chickens that no one sees? Give us a reason to see the chickens.
I ate all the chickens, by the way.
D2 needs to use it or lose it. You want additions to the game, use what you have. With that in mind, my suggestion would include Tyra Karn could be repurposed into the lore mistress. All those items and places you discover in the world and scan and pick up, return to her and she unlocks minor rewards, some class items, maybe with special perks, and adds to your quote-unquote lore tab. Yeah. The farm could be filled with vendors or low-level quests from acolytes who stand in for Zavala, Korra, and Cade, and Zavala would like you to kill 50 Cabal to earn 10 tokens and an armor ornament. Ikora has asked for 8 patrols to be completed on Nessus in exchange for this hand cannon, etc. Quests could be planted here. Multiple steps to achieve armor sets or to get specific mods. He says Vex Horde or the ARCHON'S Forge mode at Mercury's Infinite Forest, located inside the public event space, gets special drops from Vex anywhere that you can exchange with Brother Vance for a Vex key code. Plug the key code into the public event area when a public event is not active, and you unlock a public Archon Forge style challenge where a variety of Vex simulations are released into the space. The Vex have been researching all the enemy types in the past, present, and future. Bosses could be any of the major bosses, Crota, Atheon, or new ones we've never seen before. The Vex research would include Guardians. What if a Vex key could unlock a challenge where you had to defeat Osiris or Ikora or yourself? He says, anyway, I just want a reason to see the chickens. Keep up the good work, Sean. And real quick, to throw it back to the comic, that's one thing that they actually mention in the comic is, I think it's Osiris or Ikora says that they're investigating that the Vex are looking at basically like mimicking or creating, versions of themselves and all these different races. And he says, what if they can create Guardians?
Yeah.
And that is it. Like the Vex could do that if they, it's suddenly people like us, we have other Guardians out there who have our abilities. Man, Sean, this email was great.
First off, I put this in last on purpose because I wanted to end the show with this because it's one of the best emails we've gotten in a long time because there are so many brilliant ideas in here.
Incredible ideas.
I was going to say, is Bungie hiring right now?
Exactly right.
These are genius ideas.
Yes, absolutely.
And like you said, if you look at the expansion for Osiris, when you do the adventures and you go into the past, future, present, Bungie built a lot of landscape, but it's not utilized at all. Right. You know what I mean? Yep. If you look at a lot of the patrollable areas, there's tons of stuff. I explore. I always say Nessus is my favorite place. I just roam around that thing for hours, whatever it's in that. But they build such beautiful things that aren't utilized. They did it in D1, and they're kind of doing it in Destiny 2 now, especially with Curse of Osiris, because they built these amazing adventures with amazing landscapes, but you could only see them in the adventure. You know what I mean? Make them patrollable areas. Make them part of strikes. Well, I mean, some of them are part of the 2 strikes, it is, but make them patrollable areas. And make them part of like you said, make them a public event type thing, stuff like that.
Well, what's interesting? All of these things that he mentions here, that's what I could see being the Taken King style expansion for Destiny 2, right? Everything he said there, I'm like, all they would need to do is repurpose these spaces, give us a new space, and there is your Taken King style expansion for Destiny 2. Now, again, the cynics would be like, oh, that's all should have been. Dude, this sounds great. This sounds so awesome. Like, give me that.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? Right. Like here we are going ape shit about this email, and everybody in the chat is saying this is the best email they've seen in a long time. What is the element that is making this so great? It's MMO. Yeah. It's an MMO element style. And that's right. It's questing. That's exactly right. And in questing, why do we like questing? Because questing is a carrot on the end of a stick.
You have the carrot. You know what you need to do. Right. You have agency over it. And
it's not rocket science. We've been saying this forever, and they're trying to do that. And then Bungie they have listened. They are trying to give us more carrots. And I don't know if we're all rabbits or what, but we want carrots. But the reality of this is, it's MMO style. So we know that we've got a great shooter. We know that we love the movement. Now give me a reason to be in the world, and that's what this is, and that's why so many of these ideas are brilliant, because we want to be in the world. We love the movement. We love the shooting. We love how it is. The gameplay is brilliant. Now give me a reason to be there.
Well, that's one of the things, Caleb, with like Borderlands. When you look back at Borderlands, like that was the genius of that game when it first came out. Was not only the loot drops, but it was quests. Like there was just a bazillion quests when you played Borderlands. You go talk to anybody, and it's like go kill 12 of these or go. Right. And so that's what made it so addicting. Was I just got to complete all the quests. I got to do it. Yep. And that being lumped into a shooter just made that game a huge success. And like Destiny, even if you look back at the Taken King, what made so many people come to the Taken King and go, oh my God, Destiny is amazing. Like people that fell off in vanilla Destiny, not people like us, but people that came back, was suddenly they could go and get quests. in the tower and go out and do certain things to get certain rewards. And I think that's what Destiny 2 right now is someone missing. And I mean, I think
here's the only thing that I would add. And the cool thing about that is that's really good for solo gameplay, because that's one of the things that's, kind of, look, if people are worried about they don't have people to play with, then it needs to be able to be soloed and have fun being solo, but then give you an incentive to, whereas if you're in a fire team, that you get triple rewards, or if you're in a type deal, so to give you an incentive to then team up with other Guardians, that where, look, if I've got 2 people with me, we get double. If I got 3, we get triple. If I have a full fire team of 6, I'm just, not that you can do that in patrol, but I'm just saying, like, give some incentive to team up then too, is another idea that I would say, hey, this is. But
even like one of my favorite quests in Destiny 2 was the Rat King quest. Because it was like you had to get with other people that had it, and it just made it this fun, unique thing. And it kind of reminded me of like when we ran the Black Spindle quest, right? Because it was like you had to team up with these other people. You have to get through this task in front of you, and it was just fun, exhilarating in that. And there should have been more quests like that in Destiny 2.
I think we're going to see all these changes.
We're going to. I think we're going to. Yeah,
I think
it goes back to my canned phrase that I got eaten up alive from. Destiny 1, very good game, became amazing over time. Destiny 2, I think, is a better base game than Destiny 1 in terms of what's in the base game. That is so much they can expand upon. They're going to TTK. What are we calling it?
TTKing. Yeah.
TTKing. They're TTKing this game. Because I said this before.
I love it.
You take that development plan from Christopher Barrett and you slap it onto one expansion with all new content, new strikes, new PvP maps. You have a semi-taken king. TTKing.
I want this expansion. I want Sean's. I want he's putting it here.
They don't have time is not the luxury they have right now.
No, that's definitely not.
They wait until this next expansion to drop. They're going to really lose the player base. So
the other thing,
they're rolling this out to keep some of us hardcore still playing, and then if you add up all these new quality of life changes, throw a new expansion on, it's going to be amazing. But
the other reason, Shawnee, real quick, and I'm going to say, I'm sorry, didn't interrupt. The other reason I think that they're making sure that they don't have any missteps is because they can't afford anymore.
No, they can't. I mean, they've been so transparent with the last few this weeks at Bungie, because they realize, I think the faction rallies, sadly, that was the tipping point of miscommunication, where we thought we were getting all these weapons, and it really was no. That's the loot pool for the season of faction rallies. So when this last week at Bungie for Iron Banner came out, saying, this is what you get, this is what you get, this is what you get, play all you want, no caps, do this, you know what I mean? Here's the challenges, go have fun, you know what I mean? And I think the tipping point was faction rallies with that miscommunication that's led to the This Week at Bungie being much more open and just being transparent. And you know what, like, even people were getting mad at Bungie for saying that those things are at the bottom of that new roadmap, that those might slip to a later date and this and that. That's them, kind of covering their butt.
That's okay,
listen,
though. Yeah.
That's them saying, listen, we want to get it out.
Under-promise, over-deliver, man.
Yeah, it's like, listen, okay, so for like Nightfall, Strike, Unique Rewards, we want it to come out February 27th, but they have to put that little discriminator because God forbid it can't. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Under promise, over deliver. Oh, by the way, Anthem isn't coming out for another year.
Yeah. Oh wait, that's going to be the Destiny killer, like the Division, right?
You get another year. Delays. Right. It happens. Making games ain't easy.
No. It is. All right. Well, let's wrap it up there, guys. Again, if you want to have your voice heard here on the show, email us feedback@theguardiansofdestiny.com, just like many of these Guardians here did tonight. Of course, give us your topics, guys. I mean, that was a great email. We had some great ones here tonight. That's what's going to keep the show moving forward. So that's it, guys. Thank you again for tuning into the show. Big thank you to everybody over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. We're going to do the show next Monday night. We're still good. I don't think we have any reason not to be doing it. So we will be doing it Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Again, follow us on Twitter @GuardiansofD, just in case anything changes. But it's the best way to keep in touch with us. What do you guys got plugging for this week? You got anything you want to plug here on the show?
Yeah, the usual Mesa Sean on YouTube, Mesa Sean on Twitter, and I'll be streaming some Prestige raids probably this week over on YouTube. I always, I'm the one Destiny YouTuber that doesn't stream on Twitch, so come on over on YouTube, Mesa Sean. That's it, man.
Nice. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. That's all I got. Fly, Eagles, fly.
I will say, like I said earlier in the show notes, you'll see it. We have the review over at thecomicpanel.com for the webcomic. Follow Osiris. Gary did that. Our Slight Steel Soul in our chat. Go check that out. And, of course, check out my other show, The Enthusiast Life. My buddy Chris and I do a show every week talking about things that got us excited. And this week's topic, and we've been plugging this, waiting for the last like month as to when this was going to come out. We're going to be talking about that Solo trailer that dropped today. So that will be our topic for the week, as well as a couple other things.
I really like
so.
Star Trek with a Star Wars brand on
Solo. I'm not going to say anything here, so tune into that later this week. But other than that, everybody, thank you here for tuning into the show. However you're tuning in, whether it's through Podbean, through iTunes, through YouTube, or through Twitch, thank you so much. And with that, we'll catch you guys next week. Later.